The leather chair groaned under me as I reclined, surveying my corner office perched 50 stories above the pulse of Manhattan. My eyes lingered on the resume before me. Michael Thompson, my brother, who'd spent years mocking my ambitions and predicting my failure, his future now rested entirely in my hands. A soft buzz from the intercom interrupted my thoughts. "Miss Chen, your 2 p.m. interview has arrived." I couldn't help but smile, recalling Michael's last words to me at our parents' house. "Enjoy pretending to be a businesswoman while I build a real career." That real career had come crashing down with his company's bankruptcy, and now, here he was, desperately seeking a job at a time when nearly every major firm in the city was tied to Chen Global Enterprises, my company. "Send him up," I responded coolly. "And Sarah, make sure he waits a good 20 minutes. "Of course, Miss Chen." "Should I offer him coffee from the usual pot?" I smirked. The regular pot was a subtle jab, reserved for those we didn't exactly cherish. "Premium blend?" "Reserved for those who actually mattered." "Exactly," I replied. "And pull up the security footage from the lobby. I want to see the look on his face when he realizes where he is." I scanned his application again, the irony weighing heavily on me. He'd applied for a senior VP position, touting his supposed leadership expertise. Leadership that had led his last company to ruin. My phone vibrated. A message from HR. "Background check on Michael Thompson complete. Multiple red flags. Proceed with interview." I typed back with a single word, "Absolutely." The last time I'd seen Michael was at our parents' anniversary dinner. He'd been boasting about his supposed rise in the corporate world, all while asking if I was still stuck in that startup phase. That phase had grown into a multi-billion-dollar empire, though I'd kept my ownership behind layers of subsidiaries. As far as my family knew, I was still scraping by, struggling for success. The security feed appeared on my screen, showing Michael, clad in what was likely his final expensive suit, checking in at the reception. His attempts at confidence faltered the moment he saw the Chen Global logo behind the desk. "Your sister's company?" he stammered, clearly shocked. "Miss Chen is the CEO," the receptionist answered coolly. "Please have a seat. Someone will escort you shortly." I watched, entertained, as his face paled and his mind raced to connect the dots. After years of dismissing my business savvy, he was about to walk into a meeting with me, the very sister he'd once deemed a failure. My phone buzzed again. "Dad, this time. Michael mentioned an interview at Chen Global." "Is that true?" I ignored it, letting them stew for a moment. They never believed in me when I was building this empire. A few moments later, Sarah's voice came through again. "He's getting anxious in the waiting area. Keeps checking his phone, tugging at his tie." "Let him sweat," I replied with a grin. "Has he figured it out yet?" "Not yet. He keeps asking if Alexandra Chen is related to his sister Sarah. No one's giving him an answer. Alexandra was my professional name, the one I'd built my empire under. While my family still saw me as their underachieving little sister, my phone buzzed once more. "Honey, please help your brother. He really needs this job." Ah, so now they wanted help. Where was this support when I was fighting to build my company, while Michael was telling everyone I'd never succeed? The security feed showed Michael now staring at his reflection in the lobby windows, practicing a smile that would soon crumble. "Miss Chen," Sarah said again. "It's been 20 minutes. Shall I send him up?" I adjusted my Chanel blazer, took another glance at his resume, and straightened my posture. "Yes. Let's show my dear brother what success looks like." The door opened, and Sarah ushered Michael into the room. His confident stride faltered the second he saw the vastness of my office, the floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city, a city that, now, I owned. "Mr. Thompson," Sarah announced with formal precision. "Miss Chen will see you now." His eyes widened, the rehearsed smile collapsing as soon as he recognized me. "Sarah, what are you doing here?" "That's Miss Chen," I corrected him, not offering my hand. "Please, have a seat. We've got a lot to discuss." He slumped into the chair across from me, his once stylish suit now looking out of place under the weight of the moment's harsh reality. "This is impossible," he muttered. "You can't be the CEO of Chen Global Enterprises." I finished his sentence for him. Owner of the largest private holding company in the city. The mysterious Alexandra Chen. The one everyone's been dying to meet. I couldn't help but smile. It's incredible what one can accomplish when they're busy playing businesswoman. The buzz of my phone interrupted the moment. Another message from Dad. Michael just texted us. Please, be reasonable. I glanced at the message, then set my phone aside. This was a long time coming. 10 years, to be exact. Let's review your application, shall we? I said, picking up his resume. Senior VP position, impressive credentials, but I noticed your last company isn't mentioned here. Any reason for that? Michael shifted uneasily in his seat. There were complications. Complications, I repeated, raising an eyebrow. Is that your way of describing bankruptcy due to gross mismanagement? How diplomatic of you. You've been researching me, he said, his voice laced with accusation. Of course, I replied coolly. We conduct thorough background checks on all applicants. I pulled out another file, especially those with such fascinating financial histories. His complexion paled as I opened the file in front of him. Those records are sealed, he protested. Nothing's sealed from me, I shot back. Not the 3 failed ventures before your last catastrophe, not the investors you misled, not even the creative accounting that caught the SEC's attention. That was never proven, he snapped, because the investigators were bought off by one of my shell companies. I smiled thinly. Actually, I couldn't risk my dear brother's scandal reflecting badly on Chen Global, but I did enjoy watching you brag about beating those charges at Christmas dinner last year. Another buzz from my phone, this time from Mom. He has a family to support. Speaking of family, I continued, unfazed. Do you remember Dad's retirement party? The one where you told everyone I was squandering my potential on a startup? Michael shifted uncomfortably. Sarah, about what I said. Miss Chen, I corrected him sharply. And yes, let's talk about what you said. In fact, let's talk about everything you said. I pressed a button on my desk, and a sleek screen descended from the ceiling. Video clips began playing, each one a reminder of the years I'd spent being dismissed, mocked, and belittled by my own brother. Every cutting remark, every moment of ridicule, every prediction of my inevitable failure, all captured at various family gatherings. Quite the greatest hits compilation, wouldn't you say? I asked, watching his face as he squirmed, hearing his past arrogance in real time. That's not fair, he stammered weakly. Not fair, I laughed, shaking my head. Was it fair when you told potential investors to stay away from my company, when you spread rumors about my business acumen, when you convinced Mom and Dad not to invest in my little project? My phone buzzed again. It was the HR director. Other companies are requesting references from Michael Thompson. How should we respond? I typed back without hesitation. Standard protocol. Full disclosure of bankruptcy and SEC investigation. Looking at Michael's increasingly desperate expression, I couldn't help but savor the moment. You know what's interesting? I said, leaning forward slightly. Every major company you've applied to in the last month is either owned by or connected to Chen Global. Every job opportunity, every networking contact, every possible lifeline, all lead back to this office. The blood drained from his face as the realization hit him. You've been blocking me? Not actively, I answered with a cool smile. I've simply let your track record speak for itself, but I must admit, it's been quite entertaining watching you come to terms with just how much power your once unsuccessful sister holds over your future. At that moment, Sarah appeared in the doorway. Miss Chen, the board is ready for your quarterly presentation. Thank you, Sarah, I replied, not even glancing at her. Mr. Thompson was just leaving. I stood, looking directly at Michael. Unless there's something else you'd like to discuss, maybe more of your famous predictions about my success? Michael stood shakily, desperation creeping into his voice. Sarah, Alexandra, please, I need this job. Like I needed your support when I was building this company, I asked, my voice quieter now, like I needed a brother who believed in me, instead of constantly tearing me down. My phone buzzed with a series of meeting reminders. 3 p.m., board presentation, global acquisition strategy. 4 p.m., investment committee, new ventures review. 5 p.m., executive committee, personnel decisions. You know what the funny thing is? I continued, folding my arms. If you had shown even a fraction of support, you might be sitting on this side of the desk right now. I wanted to share my success with family, but you made it crystal clear how you felt about my potential. I was wrong. he blurted, trying to salvage something. Now, I raised an eyebrow, unable to suppress the bite in my tone. Now that you need something from me, now that your career has collapsed and your unsuccessful sister owns half of Manhattan. Another buzz, this time, from our PR department. Stories about Thompson Corp bankruptcy gaining traction. Should we issue a statement? Proceed, I typed back quickly. Focus on the mismanagement angle, please. Michael, still clinging to some thread of hope, tried once more. I'll do anything. Entry-level position, mail room, whatever it takes. Anything? I asked, a smile tugging at the corner of my mouth. Anything, he said desperately. I smiled wider, starting at the bottom. Just like you mocked my efforts. Funny how life works, isn't it? I pressed a button on my desk, and his resume was shredded with a mechanical whir. Unfortunately, Mr. Thompson, Chen Global maintains very high standards for its employees. We require qualities like integrity, judgment, and, most importantly, the ability to recognize potential in others. I rose from my chair, gathering my papers for the board meeting. Sarah will show you out, through the service entrance. Of course, we reserve the main lobby for successful executives. As he stumbled toward the door, I called after him one last time. Oh, and Michael, give my best to Mom and Dad. Tell them their unsuccessful daughter regrets missing Sunday dinner. I'll be too busy running my global corporation to attend. The door clicked shut behind him, and I watched on the security feed as he was escorted to the service elevator, his shoulders hunched in defeat. My phone buzzed again. Dad, naturally. Please reconsider, he's your brother. I couldn't resist. Funny, I typed back. He didn't consider that when he was predicting my failure. Success, like karma, works in mysterious ways. Sarah appeared with my board presentation, glancing at the security feed. Your brother looks rather shell-shocked. Amazing what a change in perspective can do, I replied, straightening my blazer. Oh, and have security revoke his access credentials. If he applies again, mark his file. Do not consider. Already done, Sarah confirmed. And the other companies he applied to? Let them know exactly who they're dealing with, I instructed. After all, isn't that what big sisters are for, looking out for their brother's best interests? As I prepared for my board meeting, I allowed myself one last smile. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't just proving someone wrong, it's becoming the gatekeeper to everything they desperately need. Welcome to my world, brother. Success looks different from this side of the desk. Too bad you'll never see it from here. After all, as you always said, some people just aren't cut out for success. Turns out, you were right about that, just wrong about which one of us it was.